Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. This is going to be my Arrow episode 7 video. So many awesome fights in this episode, probably because the director was their fight coordinator. This is also the last episode for the big Vandal Savage crossover episode that's happening in 2 weeks. I'll talk about that at the end of the video. Just careful for spoilers from episode 7 if you haven't seen it yet. And the reverse flash ring giveaway is new again this week. All you have to do to enter that is be a subscriber and leave a comment on this video. Starting with number 5, Diggle uses the Arrowmobile for another creative takedown of one of the ghosts. This was so much fun. So opening action sequence, great. Just the beginning of an entire episode full of awesome fight sequences, big choreographed fight sequences. The director of the episode, James Bamford, is their fight coordinator. He's one of the best fight coordinators in Vancouver, so of course, anytime they do stuff like this, it looks awesome. But the best takedown was Diggle using the Arrowmobile to crash into frame and take out one of those ghosts. If you remember, that's the exact same way Felicity took down Ravager at the end of season 2. Now the whole point of that scene was just to let you know that Hive is trying to destabilize the government in the area. The federal government was sending in money to strengthen the banks. The ghost just blew it up. They don't want the city to get any financial assistance from the federal government. And that also kind of ties in with this running plot line across the first half of the season. Damien Darhk preparing the city for his associates from Hive to get here, which I think is Vandal Savage is who he's talking about. But on to number 4, Damien Darhk meets Oliver Queen at the campaign fundraiser. So I couldn't stop thinking about whether or not Damien Darhk actually knows Oliver is the Green Arrow, and I think as of their first conversation in the episode, he did not. But I think by the end of the episode, he was putting the pieces together. He's a smart man. You can see the wheels turning in his head. It's kind of like the Flash season 2, watching Patty slowly put the pieces together. She's probably going to figure out that Barry's the Flash eventually. Damien Darhk going to put the pieces together that Oliver is the Green Arrow, the same person who will never stop fighting him. But on to number 4, Diggle's brother is still alive. So they infiltrate Damien Darhk's facility, Wolfman Biologics, which is actually a reference to Marv Wolfman, who's a longtime DC writer. He even wrote Crisis on Infinite Earths. You can't throw a rock in the DC universe without hitting something that Marv Wolfman has touched at some point. But they unmask Andy, and it's not a trick, it's not a clone, it's the actual Andy. Damien Darhk has just co-opted him. So Diggle and Oliver get into it again over what the right course of action is. Diggle is pissed that Oliver wants to pull a season 3 plan just like he did with Ra's al Ghul. Oliver's initial idea is to cozy up with Damien Darhk, take him down from the inside. Diggle's like, dude, you did that last year, it went terribly, do not do it again. Oliver, on the other side of the coin, is telling Diggle not to give up on his brother. He deserves the benefit of the doubt. And by the end, they both come around. Oliver takes Damien Darhk on in the light of day, and Diggle tries to help his brother. The interesting thing about that is there are consequences. Diggle's brother's like, yeah, I did all that terrible stuff. I'm a terrible person. And Damien Darhk is obviously going to retaliate against Oliver. So doing the right thing won't necessarily lead to a good outcome. But on to my number 2 WTF. Thea also thinks that she has a better way than killing. She's going to try and embrace this darkness inside her to take down Damien Darhk. Something about the state of her soul backfired against Damien Darhk when he tried to lay hands on her. So she's like, okay, I'm going to try and use this. But as intrigued as Merlin looks here, this is obviously not going to end well. But raise your hand if you thought that she was actually going to go after that pedophile. The minute that Merlin offered that solution, I was like, wow, they are really laying it on thick. They want it to seem like she has a real choice to make. Like, this is the worst human being you could possibly imagine. He doesn't deserve to live, and he really doesn't deserve to live. But Thea's a good person, she's not going to actively campaign for murdering people. If you didn't catch it either, Damien Darhk also joked and called her Princess Merida. That's just a Brave reference because of the red and the arrows. And finally, onto my number 1 WTF, Mayor Oliver Queen versus Damien Darhk. I'm just going to go ahead and call him Mayor now. I feel like we all think that Oliver's going to win his campaign. But as Damien's looking at him there at the end of the episode, you just get the sense that he is going to retaliate hard. And the next episode, the next episode of Arrow, is the second part of the big Legends of Tomorrow crossover. Now that's like the collected 2-hour episode that's going to introduce Vandal Savage. I do feel like he's going to be a part of Hive, but I do think there are other people that are in Hive that will show up. It's kind of like Hydra, it's a very complex organization. Damien Darhk, Vandal Savage aren't the only people you're going to see with any authority. But what's going to happen is the story will start on The Flash. We'll learn more about Hawkman and Hawkgirl that will cross over with Vandal Savage to Arrow. That episode isn't going to air for 2 weeks. That's right, next week is going to be a break. I mean, I'll still do bonus videos and stuff like that, but there's no new episode next week of The Flash or Arrow. No need to freak out because the cast is going to Heroes and Villains Fan Fest. So if there's any videos to be made for stuff that comes out of that, I'll totally do that too. They said they're going to be doing some fun stuff. I don't know what that is. They haven't announced. Like they have some special surprise. But all in all, I felt like it was a good episode. I don't think it teed up things quite as much as last week's episode of The Flash. Like it seemed like they were seeding more big things. Arrow's been a little bit more mysterious with the reveals that it's made. When we got to see the Atom again, he really just reminded us that, hey, I'll be around to help, but I'm not coming back full time. That's what all that Palmer tech talk was with Felicity. He did have a pretty badass save during that last big fight. I actually thought it was the Flash for a minute when he zoomed in super quick. I was like, wait, what was that? But I think the best character moment was when Diggle showed up. Oliver was like, hey, about time you showed up. And he was like, my brother needed me, the green one. Such a great bro moment. And it just shows you that Oliver is every bit Diggle's brother as Andy is. Like you have your blood relatives, then you have the family that you choose. And the whole question of what would you do to protect your family is a big theme across The Flash and Arrow this season. Like you have Iris trying to fix her family, you have all this stuff with Laurel trying to fix her family, Oliver trying to fix his family, and fix his family of the city, like the city is literally his family. But my next video will be for that Flarrow trailer. I was waiting to see if they'd post new footage. The promo that they aired after Arrow was just the exact same footage they did after The Flash. So I'll do a video for that, explain what's going on with Hawkman and Hawkgirl, because they're tying their backstory to Vandal Savage. Like Vandal Savage comes after Hawkgirl. Like that's the reason he comes into the story. So I'll explain what's going on with that. It's a little bit different from the comics, but they're taking a lot of classic Hawkman, Hawkgirl stories and tying it in with Justice Society stuff. It is going to be awesome. And don't forget, Jessica Jones drops on Friday. I'll be doing a whole bunch of videos for that. For those that are asking about Supergirl this week, I am planning on doing a new video. I just don't know which day it's going to come on, so you can just follow me on Twitter and Facebook for updates on when videos are posting, especially with Jessica Jones stuff happening. So while you guys wait for all that stuff to drop, you can click here for last night's episode of The Flash, and you can click here to catch up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from last night too. They did some really cool Captain America Red Skull stuff, so you guys got to check it out. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tomorrow.